What's up, everybody? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined today by UFC President Dana White, who I got to say, I was expecting you to be a little more tan after going to a place called Fight Island for a few weeks, but you're looking about a normal shade over there. You didn't get out
normal shade of pink.
How you doing, man? I haven't talked to you since you got back from that place. What was the experience like?
I'm awesome, man. Everything was great. It was an incredible experience over there, just like I thought it would be. And everybody who's coming back, from fighters to my staff to, the ring car girls, literally everybody over there had a blast. And it was a very unique experience for everybody involved.
I mean, you've been doing this now for, man, almost 20 years. And you've seen this sport from, a place where you weren't sure if the UFC was even going to stay in business, and networks weren't interested in it, and it wasn't even legal in all 50 states. And you've gone through a lot of different experiences being the president of the UFC. Where does this one rank? I mean, how does this compare, trying to hold fights during a pandemic, to what you've gone through in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably our biggest achievement, which is saying a lot considering what we've done in this sport. You can just look at what's going on with baseball right now in the NBA, and the fact that, we pulled off 3 events in Jacksonville, 5 at the Apex here in Vegas, and then just did 4 on Fight Island. And then now we're coming back to the Apex, and in the month of August, we're going to run 9 events in the month of August between, the Contender Series and Fight Nights. So what we're doing now is definitely the hardest thing we've ever done, and probably the coolest thing we've ever done.
I mean, I know that you are, you can be a little combative, and you like to be proven right when you are right. And when you see things like, and I know you're a sports guy, and obviously we're not rooting against, any other sport, but when you see that, baseball basically 3 days in has a big situation with, what happened in the Marlins organization and guys testing positive, and you were the first organization to come back, and now you've shown you can do this. Do you feel a little vindicated, especially when you think back on that, those first Jacksonville cards, when a lot of people were questioning whether or not you should have been doing it?
Yeah, but when you say a lot of people, you're talking about the media. And you know what I think of the media. They're all, I will never, ever do anything with my business based off what the media thinks. Everything the media has ever said has been wrong since the day I bought this company with the Fertittas. They've been wrong with everything they've said. They know nothing about this business. All of the media, none of them know anything about this business. They think they do, and they like to act like they do. They don't. They know nothing. And I will never, run this business based off what anybody in the media says. When we sold for $4 billion, they overpaid, and right before we sold for $4 billion, the company was was going this way, and I've been hearing all this crap from the media for 20 years. It means nothing to me. They literally, everything they say and everything they do has zero impact on this business.
Well, after that glowing compliment of myself, since I am a media member who covers the UFC, I'll move on to my next question.
Listen, you guys, to be fair, you guys are fans. You're passionate about the sport. You love it and everything else. And you guys can say, you can have your opinions on the fights that are coming up and things like that, and certain fighters and all this stuff. The business of MMA, none of you know anything. And Brett, it's just a fact. You guys know nothing about this business, and nobody knows more about this business than I do. So these guys can try to assume, argue, do all this stuff. They know nothing.
Well, that fits in line with my next question. It is kind of a business question. And I know that it seems like, your motivation or your focus is like, let's put on these events, and we have a good thing here, obviously, in Vegas, and then on Fight Island. But I also know that you're a guy that likes to push the envelope. And I just wonder if, when you see a situation in New Zealand where they can have, a stadium full of fans at a rugby game, I mean, would that ever be a situation that you would say, well, maybe we don't take an entire card there, but maybe we have the right fight and we can hold it at a part in the world where we can still because that would be pretty cool. And that would be almost a type of a Dana White move, where you would try to put on just a mega fight in the middle of a pandemic in a place where you could still have fans. Is that even a consideration, or are you just, we got to keep consistent events?
I don't, and I never have pushed the envelope when it comes to the health and safety of whether it's the athletes, my employees, UFC fans. You know, one of the 20 years, I've been doing this 20 years. There's never been a death or serious injury. You realize we don't get the credit we deserve for that, on top of many, many other things that we don't get credit for. You know why? Because we spend the money to make sure that these people are healthy before they go in and fight. They're healthy during the fight. After the fight, they get the best medical attention they can get. When COVID-19 broke out, I knew that we would spend the money and I would do whatever it took to make everybody safe. I didn't know how I was going to do it. We needed to figure that out. And that was what I was pushing, you know, everybody around us to do. I have the best staff in all of sports, period. Look at what we've done. Look at what we continue to do. I have the best staff in all of sports, right? My fighters, I knew they would go. I knew as long as they trusted me and felt that I could make this safe for everybody, they would go and they would fight. And if you didn't want to, you didn't have to. I got a roster of 630 people who I knew would fight. And then they get into this empty arena and they fight like they're fighting in front of 15,000 people. Mm-hmm. It's been incredible. And I say it to the fighters all the time when I talk to them. I've never been more proud to be a part of the sport than I am right now. I'm not even thinking about going to a place with fans. Mm. I don't think it's the time. And you know, this whole COVID thing's still going on. I've literally set up this business not even thinking about having fans. But when the time is right and when it's ready, I can't wait to have a packed arena again. I mean, think about the first event when we have fans back, how big it's going to be, the energy and buzz that's going to be in that place, and how much fun that event's going to be. I can't wait for it, but I'm not even thinking like that now.
Mm. So I know you've said many times that Fight Island was amazing, that the protocols were in place. You wouldn't have changed a single thing, and that you will be back. And it's kind of, there's not a firm time frame on when you'll be back, but you will be back presumably at the second half of this year. Is it just kind of like on standby? Like if something happens in Vegas, are you able to like mobilize and go right back?
There's a firm timeline. I'm just not telling you guys.
Oh, okay.
You guys are on a need to know basis and you don't need to know yet.
All right. Well, how many more times do you think you will go back to Fight Island this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Well, like you just said, who knows? Listen, I'm not assuming anything with 2020. This is the goofiest year in the history of the world, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm not assuming anything. Who knows what this year will throw at us next? I'm just going day by day, and I can't wait for January 1st. I've never been so excited for a year to be over. Yeah. I'm just day by day till we hit Jan 1.
I think a lot of us are feeling that way. Well, before we look ahead to the month of August, you coming back here in Vegas, what was your biggest takeaway from Fight Island in terms of the fights themselves? Who had the standout performance of the first trip to Fight Island?
Hamzat.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the guy is so dominant, so confident, wants to continue to fight every weekend. I love it. I love guys with that mentality. I love, you know, how talented this guy is. You know, we threw the hottest prospect out of the UK at him, and that kid is a badass, legit great fighter. And he made it look like he didn't belong there. You look at the punch stat that ESPN put out, you know, in a two fight, what was it, 156-2 or 160-something-2. The kid's legit. He's real, and he knows it, and I love it.
Did you get to interact much with him personally?
192-2.
Yeah, and through 2 fights.
In 2 fights.
Yep. Yep. Did you interact with him much personally while you were there?
Yeah. I mean, you know, he said he wanted to fight, and I said, done. I'll make it happen. He wants to fight now again in August, and I'm going to get him what he wants.
Are you? Is he going to get a fight here in August?
Hell yes, I am.
I mean, the guy comes in, he's only had 2 fights in the UFC. Obviously, they've been terrific. How high of a ranking would you like to see him?
That's what we're trying to figure out. We were sitting in here this morning trying to figure out what we think is next. You know, you ask this kid, he's ready to fight Usman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm kind of ready to see it. Believe it or
Is he ready for Usman? The way he looks, who knows? Maybe. But Usman, listen, when you start talking about credit and not getting the credit they're due, Usman is one of those guys. Usman is one of the baddest dudes on the planet right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in that division, you got Usman, Gilbert Burns. I'm telling you, wait till Burns versus Usman. That's going to be an unbelievable fight.
Yep.
You got Covington, you got Edwards, Masvidal, Woodley. You know, that top 5 in the welterweight division is as nasty as it gets. So, you know, even when you start getting number 10 is Jeff Neal.
Oh,
Jeff Neal, nobody wants to fight Jeff Neal.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure we're going to find out real quick. Nobody wants to fight Hamzat either.
Probably.
Believe me.
Yeah, probably.
Nobody's going to want to fight that dude either. So we got our work cut out for us. We got to figure it out.
Hey, you mentioned Masvidal in there, and I do kind of wonder, like, what do you think is next for him? He had said prior to the fight that he's interested in fighting Nate Diaz again. Now he's also said, though, that he got that taste of a title fight, and he wants it again. He wants to get back to a championship. So do you have interest in a rematch with Nate Diaz? And if not, you know, where would you like – what do you think?
I don't think you do an immediate rematch. We got to see how some of these fights play out and see what's next for him. I mean, he's talking about fighting again after next year. So, you know, still a long ways away, and a lot of things can change in that division in the next, you know, 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. What do you think of the Robert Whittaker Darren Till main event? You weren't there. You watched that one from back home. What do you think of the fight?
Yeah, you know, 2 of the top guys in the world. It wasn't the fight that I thought it was going to be. I thought there was going to be a lot more action. It ended up being a lot more strategic and you know, guys picking their shots. Wasn't the fight that I expected, but, you know, it was a good main event.
You thought Robert won?
Yeah. It was close. It was a razor-thin fight, you know.
Yep.
I had it even going into that last round.
Yeah, me too. I think in that middleweight division, so obviously you got Paulo Costa fighting Israel Adesanya, and then behind that you got Rob Whittaker and you've got Jared Cannonier, right? I mean, do you look at one of those guys as your number 1 contender after Paulo Costa, or do you think they need to fight each other? What do you think happens in the meantime while we wait?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to call. I said it the other night. You know, when I did, if you don't know, now you know. You got Cannonier in there, and then, you know, do you do Cannonier Whittaker? I mean, that's a really good fight to find out who fights. To find out who fights the winner of Adesanya and Costa. Mm-hmm. I you know, I said it wrong on If You Don't Know, Now You Know, and the fans were going crazy on me. Like, I was assuming that Adesanya would win. That wasn't what I meant.
Yeah. You know, I asked you who is a standout of Fight Island. For me, it was Davis and Figueiredo. What do you do next at flyweight? You know, he's off to a great start, you know, knocking out Joseph Benavidez now twice. That's a great way to start a title reign. Who do you think is his next challenge?
Yeah, he looked incredible, and I don't disagree with you at all. You know, there's always been a lot of talk in that division. That division doesn't have the stars. They're not excited. It's one of the most violent fights you will ever see in the short time that it lasted. And, yeah, incredible fight. But we're looking at that right now. I think we got that done. Next fight. I don't know where the hell it is, but it was here. Yeah, we're all over that.
Well, if you want
it was on the board and now it's off. I got to find out what happened with that fight. But yeah, we're working on that.
Camera and walk over there and just show us what you're looking for.
Well, you should show up for interviews live, and you might be able to sneak around the place and see some stuff.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out who's next for Figueiredo. But
moving on.
Hey, could it be Cody Garbrandt? Just out of curiosity, because Cody has kind of said, he's put it out there that he would like to drop down and fight him, which would be, you know, pretty aesthetically pleasing fight. Could it be Cody Garbrandt?
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. What an answer. All right. How about Max Holloway? You know, you've had a little bit of time now. You know, after the fight against Alex Volkanovski, you said that there was some bad judging there, and you felt bad for him because, you know, now what does he go from here? Well, where does he go from here? Where do you think?
Here's the thing. Calvin Kattar just fought. Yair Rodriguez has a fight coming up. Zombie has a fight coming up. Ortega and Zabit. All of these guys are going to fight in the next couple of months here. So we'll see how that all plays out. It's hard. It's hard to not say we can give Max a rematch for that fight again, do it a third time. And I think a lot of the fans and the media would agree with that. So I don't know for sure. I'm sure Volkanovski doesn't love that idea, you know? He's like, listen, I just beat this guy twice, you know? And if you're Volkanovski, you're like, guess what? The media aren't judges. Dana White's not a judge. None of these people are judges. The people that are assigned to judge the fight said I won twice. You know? So if you're Volkanovski, I get it. And if you're Volkanovski, you probably want to take a look at a different guy, you know? Yeah. I don't know. Then I haven't really talked to Volkanovski about it. Something I definitely need to do. And we'll see how this thing plays out.
You mentioned all those guys have fights. So Zabit and Yair, is that the fight? Those two?
Did we announce that?
I don't think officially, no.
Okay.
Would you like to officially announce it?
No.
And then Brian and Young, I mean, Brian and Zombie, you've tried to make that fight last year. You've been trying to make it this year. It's a travel thing with Zombie, right? I mean, have you gotten Zombie's travel figured out? We're going to see that fight?
Yeah, I think we just proved that we can figure all that stuff out. And yeah, I mean, that's obviously a fight to make. We've been trying to make that fight forever.
Okay. Just one more division I wanted to look at, and that's bantamweight. Petr Yan defeating Jose Aldo. Looked good doing it, I thought. You haven't really committed to a number one contender in bantamweight. Do you know who your number one contender is at 135 pounds?
I do know who it is. Still not going to commit to it, though, publicly.
You don't want to share it. How come? You're holding everything close to the vest today.
Yeah, it's just, timing right now. Everything's about timing right now. And with this COVID thing, who knows what's going to happen next. So I'm just, I told you, I'm going day by day.
Okay. Well, I think that's it from me from Fight Island. And then looking ahead, you got Edmund Shabazian versus Derek Brunson this week. The week after that, you got Derek Lewis, Alexei Olenek, Chris Weidman on that card on the August 8th card. And then UFC 252, DC versus Stipe. And what I've been saying about this fight is I think it's the biggest title fight in the history of the UFC's heavyweight division. I want to know if you agree with me. And
I do agree with that, And the truth is, going into this fight with all the hype, one of these two that wins the fight definitely goes down as the best heavyweight, in UFC history.
You think? Yeah, it's for that title, huh? Greatest heavyweight.
And they're both candidates. You know what I mean? If you look at what Stipe's accomplished and Cormier, I mean, in two different weight classes, what this guy has accomplished is one of the greatest of all time.
I know you've been kind of hit and miss on whether or not you think this will be DC's last fight. Sitting here today, you think this will be DC's last fight?
I hope it's not. I hope. You know me, man. When it's time to retire for guys, I'm the first guy to say, hey, you should probably do it. Mm-hmm. I just, what's crazy is Cormier is up there in age, but he's still, he's one of the greatest of all time, dominated two weight classes. And I don't know, I still think he's got a lot left, but it isn't my body. It isn't my, mm-hmm. He truly knows the answer to that.
Yeah. Hey, last thing I'll ask of you is, have you gotten a chance to talk to Khabib Nurmagomedov? Have you exchanged any messages with him? Have you talked to him on the phone, anything?
I'm not messing with Khabib, man. His dad died, and Khabib is doing his thing. When Khabib's ready, Khabib will let me know.
Okay. Well, let's leave with this. Ali Abdelaziz, Khabib's manager, has come out in the media, told someone that he thinks he has 2 more fights left. He's 28-0. He believes Khabib will retire 30-0. That was his father's plan for him. So if you are Khabib Nurmagomedov's promoter, Dana White, he's got 2 fights left. If that is the case, what do you want to do with those 2 fights with Khabib?
I don't know. Obviously, he's got this Gaethje fight. That's a done deal. He's fighting Gaethje next. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know who his last fight would be to make him 30. So I don't know.
No clue. even as a fan?
No, I mean, no. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, the Conor McGregor fight, I know Conor has always wanted that fight since the last one. I mean, that's the fight to make. I don't know. We'll have to see how this again, how it all plays out. But the Gaethje fight is absolutely, positively the next fight for him.
Which is a close fight, and you know, Khabib is certainly that's a real challenge in front of him. If he were to win that and he were to come to you and say, I want the final fight of my career to be against Georges St. Pierre, would you entertain that?
Sure.
You would.
Yeah, I mean, it's the last fight of his career. The guy's been great. He's been great to the company. He's been great for the sport. And yeah, I like Khabib a lot. I would do anything Khabib wanted to do.
All right, man. Well, you've been gracious with your time. I really appreciate talking fights with you. And happy birthday, man. What are you doing
Thanks,
tomorrow?
buddy. I appreciate it.
You got any plans for the birthday?
No, when you get my age, you try to pretend it's not your birthday anymore.
Well, I hope you have a good one. Nevertheless, man. Thank you for the time, Dana.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.